Played really, really good, and their outsides went off and played an amazing match, so you have to give them a ton of credit. But I think it came down to, all that matters is the fifth set at the end of the day. And so I think we kind of just trusted that and trusted that we do drills every single day in practice to prepare us for that and to go for it when it really matters. But, it really comes down to whoever wins those last two. And if you could have hit 1,000 before those two, and if you don't get those two, it doesn't really matter. So I think we just made the plays when we needed to play, and that's how we pulled it out.
Merritt, you were, on Tuesday, you were fired up about your game plan, which was interesting. How did you do at your game plan against Purdue?
Well, we didn't stop the outsides very well, but you know what? That's okay. It happens sometimes. But I think one thing that I'm really proud of this team is, normally if our defense isn't going how it always is, and that's something that we rely on, we kind of used to shut down. That's what happened to SMU. They were rolling offensively, and we were kind of what do we do? But we didn't do that tonight, and that's what we've been working on for in those moments where maybe a girl's going off, maybe our defensive plan isn't working that night for whatever reason. How are we going to adjust and still pull out a win? And I'm really proud of this team because that's literally what we've been working on since SMU, because that is what happened at SMU. So, no, it didn't, but we pulled it out, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Andi, how did it feel to be back up? I think you had 10 kills, your first 11 swings. Didn't look like there was any rust out there.
It was really fun. It honestly felt like I never left just because when I was out, the team was so supportive. And even when I was in street clothes on the bench, I just felt so included because the team just does an amazing job making you feel surrounded with all of their love. And so obviously it was really fun to be back out there in gear, but it felt like I never left.
When did you know you
Today.
What does Shaquan and Hudson do well to make them so difficult to stop?
They're really good players. You got to give credit where credit is due. They're very smart. They had a lot of shots, and I think sometimes at this level you'll see outsides who really only have one shot, and once you can take that away from them, you kind of see them start to shut down. But they did a really good job being consistent, and when we took something from them, then they found another way to will points, and that's just really good qualities that they have. So learning to adjust to that, like Merritt said, our defense just had to adjust because when you're playing good outsides like that, all you can do is adjust. They're good players.
What was the end of that match like for you? You had to sub out, but then Merritt checked back in and had a couple of big kills there to finish it off.
Queen. It was so fun. I don't know. The energy in the Bob was insane, and I'm not going to lie, I knew we had it in the bag. Based off the energy and just our team as a whole, we came together and we were like Wio Fio, with each other, for each other. And the energy that we had, I knew we were going to pull it out.
Merritt, what does it do for y'all when they missed 19 serves? What does that do for you on your side of the net when you see the ball sail long or go into the net? How does that affect your team?
Yeah, I would think that it probably affects other teams more. Most times we're just we want it more. And so for us, we kind of use it as a momentum of okay, if you're going to give us a free point, we're going to take it. So I think honestly, it probably helps our team more than it hurts. Sure, there's a little bit of the rhythm to the game that might get messed up, but I think our team looks at it a great way of just okay, if they're going to give us free points, we're taking them and we're turning another one. So I think honestly, we do a pretty good job of using them to our advantage for sure. But it does kind of mess up the rhythm a little bit.
Andi, is there another kind of competition trying to get kills against Raven in the middle there for Purdue?
What do you mean?
Hitting against her, what's that like for your middles and to try to get kills when she's
Yeah,
out there?
Raven's also a great player. She's super smart. She's an amazing blocker. Watching her block you can learn a lot from her. So it is definitely war of attrition between the middles. But again, credit where credit is due. She got a couple on me and it was back and forth, but I think it was a good competitive matchup between the middles.
You guys only had 5.5 blocks in 5 sets. What was Purdue doing to make it hard to get stuffs? And was it them or was it more on your side?
I think like Andi said, their outsides did a really good job of just mixing it up. I know, as someone who was blocking them, I would take her line and she would hit cross. And it was just back and forth all night. Whatever I took, she hit the other. And I think Bergen would say the same. And, that's what makes them great volleyball players. And so, sure, there's always things that we can improve on and get better at and figuring out that a little bit sooner. But I also think, blocking's not all in however many stuffs we have, like we talk about all the time, just getting one touch. Like we're never like, oh, we have to stuff this. Like our focus is getting a touch so we can have Lexi get an easy ball and we transition it, you know? So it's not all in how many stuffs we have, and there's always room to get better, but I do think that they are great players and they were really good with their shot selection tonight as well.
Final questions?
Bergen had 60 assists tonight, new career high for her. How did she help guide you guys through a very stressful match like this?
Yeah. I mean, she's just so consistent with her demeanor, and I think that's huge for a setter. It's pretty hard to play with a setter when they're up and down because it's like, I don't really know what to expect from you. I don't know if you're mad at me. I don't know if you're mad at yourself, you know, but that's what she does really good, and you kind of have to be that way when you're touching the ball every single point, but she's just so calm and so steady throughout the highs and the lows, and I think that's what makes her so special. But I mean, obviously we can talk about her sets and we know those are great, but I think her demeanor is what helps us the most in moments like that. And just that demeanor also allows us as hitters to know that she has trust in us, and it's never like, oh shoot, Andi just made an error, I can't go back to her. You know, she normally fires it back in after an error to one of us. So it's just that trust in the demeanor that makes her so special for sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.